Hey everyone, welcome to the show. So, week two of the Oath Keepers trial concluded last week. There's a lot of details to share, so I'm going to jump in. The prosecutor shared more damning messages sent by the Oath Keepers members. The messages basically provided insight into their state of mind, and also, most importantly, it clarifies their intent. I can't share all of them because there's too many, but when I share their sentencing, I'll go through each one, each individual person, and I'll give more details. But I wanted to at least pull out a few, give you guys an idea of what was said in some of the most damning messages. So, for example, defendant Kelly Meggs wrote to members of the group and he said, quote, "We need to surround the Capitol all the way around with patriots screaming so they hear us inside. Scare the hell out of them should do the trick." And quote, "We need to make those senators very uncomfortable with all of us being a few hundred feet away." Then the group's leader, Elmer Stewart Rhodes, also talked about terrorizing Congress. He wrote to members of the group and he said, quote, "The only chance we/he has is if we scare the shit out of them and convince them it will be torches and pitchforks if they don't do the right thing." And in response to another message from Rhodes, Meggs replied and said, quote, "There's going to be blood in the streets no matter what." Then Meggs also posted a photo of a guillotine on social media, and he wrote, quote, "We need to get these politicians and let them know who runs the country." The prosecutor also shared messages sent by defendant Thomas Caldwell. He talked of civil war and how they had to keep Trump in office. And in mid-November, he wrote, quote, "If we don't start mowing down masses of these shitballs, they will come for all of us. It's kill or be killed, I'm afraid." Then he also replied to another Facebook user's post. This was towards the end of December. And he stated, quote, "Tell me who to shoot first and I'm all in." In another message on January 1st, Caldwell said, quote, "We must smite them now and drive them down." Then Caldwell also issued a threat towards Vice President Mike Pence, and he said, quote, "If he hopes to live till Friday, he better stand tall." In addition to all of this talk, though, the prosecutors have also shown that the Oath Keepers took action as well. They were determining where boats could dock. They were trying to figure out how to transport their weapons from the Virginia hotel rooms to the Capitol across the water. They were actively seeking access to boats. I will say, though, a couple of the messages undercut the prosecution's case. In regard to the weapons that they had stashed in the hotel, specifically, some Oath Keeper statements included qualifiers such as, quote, "if things went really bad and we needed to fight back to save lives," or, quote, "in case of worst case scenarios." So I can see how the defense is going to try to use portions of these statements to try to convince the jury that, oh, they never intended to use the weapons. You know, this wasn't about members of Congress. They were just going to use them in case of an emergency, in case they needed it for defense. But nevertheless, the defense attorneys fought to keep a lot of these messages from the jury. But Judge Mehta told them, quote, "I appreciate what you all are up against, and I wish I could roll back the clock and tell your clients not to put down what they've put down. They've done what they've done. They can't unring that bell. Whether they meant it rhetorically, bombastically, what have you, that's a question for the jury, not a basis to keep it out." The Oath Keepers also attempted to coordinate and build an alliance with other alt-right extremist groups. The prosecutor presented evidence of Oath Keepers messages with other group leaders, and this included the Three Percenters, the Proud Boys. But some members of the Oath Keepers expressed disdain for the Proud Boys, which was interesting. One member described the Proud Boys as, quote, "frat boys looking for a fight." And defendant Kelly Meggs concurred. He said, quote, "They want to chase kids around the street. We want to save the Republic." And in addition to this tranche of messages that they shared last week, former Oath Keepers member Terry Cummings testified. Cummings admitted that he took his AR-15 to the Virginia hotel where the Oath Keepers staged their quick reaction force. And he told the jury, quote, "I had not seen that many weapons in one location since I was in the military." Cummings also admitted to walking to the Capitol with the Oath Keepers, but he got separated from the group because he had to use the bathroom. Later, when he reconnected with these Oath Keepers members, he learned that they had entered the Capitol. But Cummings claims that he never actually heard any pre-planning about entering the building, and he believed that the weapons were only there for defense. He admitted, though, that this could have been discussed. He said, it could have been planned in advance without his knowledge, because he said he wasn't included in any of the leadership chat groups. There were also a couple of items of disagreement this past week. This was regarding the evidence. One was decided, and then the other is still hanging. The judge is still considering it. The judge agreed with the prosecutor that communication between Rhodes and now indicted Oath Keepers counsel Kelly Sorrell is not privileged. So the jury already today has gotten to see some of those messages, but one was already previewed last week. And in it, Rhodes said in part, quote, "They won't fear us till we come with rifles in hand." So this is a really crucial win for the prosecutor, because Sorrell is accused of advising Oath Keepers to destroy evidence after January 6th. So, this proves consciousness of guilt. And if they can show that Rhodes made that decision, or even if he just knew about it and he sanctioned it, he's screwed. The other item which the judge is weighing is whether or not the jury is going to be able to hear a call between defendant Kelly Meggs and his son. So this call took place while Meggs was already in jail, and the prosecutor alleges that Meggs was using code words to try to instruct his son to get rid of weapons. And while all this was going down in court last week, Rhodes called into InfoWars, not Alex Jones' show, but another show on InfoWars. He was whining about his free speech being taken away and being violated, and he referred to the FBI as the Gestapo. I mean, I guess he's not as stupid as Marjorie Taylor Greene, and he didn't call them the gazpacho, but and then Rhodes said, quote, "I think Americans need to lose their fear of being indicted or put in prison. But just like Nelson Mandela was willing to go to jail for life, he did 20 years. You have to be willing to do that." So I guess he wants added incitement tacked on to his indictment or something. I don't know. But see, Mandela was fighting for something real, apartheid and racism. These people fighting for a figment of their imagination, or as a friend of mine used to say, a fig Newton of their imagination. So anyway, thanks for watching, guys. I will let you know when I hear more. Take care. I'll talk with you soon.